client's financial and emotional well-being can be significantly strained by health issues such as disability, critical illness, or the need for long-term care. Accident and sickness, A&S, insurance can help mitigate these effects. Before an agent can recommend a product, they must first create a client profile to understand the client's risks and needs. The client profile should, at a minimum, cover their personal, financial, and insurance situations. This comprehensive profile empowers the agent to suggest suitable A&S insurance products, including disability, critical illness, long-term care, and extended health insurance that align with the client's needs and budget. Personal situation. A fact-finding interview for an A&S insurance review should consider a wide range of personal factors. These factors include age, gender, and avocations. These details can influence the risk of disability and the duration for which benefits or care might be needed. Age also affects the cost of insurance. Gender is a factor in estimating mortality and morbidity risk. Statistics show women generally have a longer life expectancy and a higher likelihood of incurring a disability than men of the same age. Avocations or non-work activities can impact a client's risk exposure for short or long-term disability. A sedentary lifestyle increases health problems, while regular exercise reduces them. Engaging in extreme sports, such as rugby or rock climbing, significantly raises the risk of injury and permanent disability, and may even make a client uninsurable or subject to coverage exclusions. Marital status. A client's marital status affects their income sources and expenses during periods of disability or illness. A single client typically has fewer financial obligations to others, but also lacks a spouse's potential second income or caregiver support. A married or common-law client spouse can provide a second source of family income, potentially mitigating the need for as much insurance coverage. For clients who are divorced, separated, or were in a common-law relationship, an agent should inquire about ongoing support obligations to an ex-partner or children and review any relevant agreements or court orders. Dependents. An agent must consider the financial needs of a client's dependents, which may include a spouse, children, or other family members like aging parents or siblings. These needs add to the expenses that must be met and may necessitate increased A&S coverage. Occupation. This is the most crucial factor in determining the type, benefits, and costs of disability insurance. The risk of disability, minimum waiting periods, benefit duration, and premiums are all influenced by the occupation. High-risk occupations may result in coverage exclusions or a client being deemed uninsurable. An agent should scrutinize the client's duties, work history, and future work plans. For example, the highest classification for disability insurance is for professionals in low-risk environments like doctors or lawyers who may be eligible for own occupation definitions of disability and guaranteed renewable policies. Knowing a client's work history, including past jobs in dangerous environments like mining, is important as it could lead to future ailments and disability. Health. A person's health is a critical factor for all types of A&S insurance. Agents must assess a client's current health, past health problems, and family health history to identify potential future issues. For example, health factors like diabetes or high blood pressure are risk factors for heart attack and stroke, which would result in a critical illness claim. Past health issues or a negative medical history can lead to severe coverage restrictions or denial. Family health history is also important, as certain health issues, such as type 2 diabetes or breast cancer, tend to run in families and could increase the risk of a claim. Retirement goals. A client's planned retirement date and anticipated lifestyle impact the design of an A&S insurance program. The retirement date determines how long disability benefits might need to be paid. An active retirement lifestyle with extensive travel could increase the need for critical illness and long-term care coverage. If a client plans to live abroad, they may need supplemental coverage, as provincial health insurance may not cover or fully cover health costs in a foreign country. Client's financial situation. The financial section of a client profile focuses on their income, expenses, and overall financial position. Income. Disability income replacement insurance is based on a client's earned income, but unearned income from investments, annuities, pensions, and trusts should also be considered. An agent must identify the source, amount, consistency, and future viability of the client's income. For an employee, this means examining the stability of their salary, bonuses, and commissions. For a self-employed client, it's important to assess the viability and consistency of their business income and consider if a separate business overhead expense policy is needed to cover fixed costs like rent or employee salaries. Other sources of income, such as spousal income, investment income, support payments, pension income, royalties, and trust income, should also be factored in. Expenses. Disability income replacement needs can be calculated as a percentage of pre-tax income, typically around 60%, or based on the amount of net income required to meet household expenses. The agent and client must decide which approach is more suitable. Critical illness and long-term care insurance benefits are not based on a percentage of income. Critical illness benefits are a lump sum to cover expenses, and long-term care benefits are a maximum reimbursement amount for services. Expenses can be categorized as living expenses, savings and investments, and debt. A review of mortgage statements, rental agreements, and bank statements can provide a clear picture of living expenses. A budget helps distinguish between needs and wants, allowing for a more accurate disability plan. The client's debt, including mortgages, lines of credit, and credit card balances, is a key consideration for the monthly budget and cash flow. Insurance situation. After assessing the client's risks and financial resources, the agent must evaluate their existing insurance coverage. This includes personal policies, group plans, and government coverage. Personal and group coverage. An agent should document the type and characteristics of all existing coverage. Coverage sources can include individual, corporately owned, group, or lender-owned policies. The agent needs to know the risks covered, conditions, exclusions, benefit types and amounts, duration, tax status, and definitions of terms like disability. The cost of existing coverage is also a factor, as some plans, like credit card coverage, may offer limited benefits at a high price. Government coverage. Federal and provincial programs provide benefits for those unable to work due to illness or injury. Agents must stay informed about current contribution and benefit levels and eligibility requirements for these plans. Employment insurance, EI. This federal program offers temporary sickness benefits for up to 15 weeks to eligible workers who cannot work due to sickness, injury, or quarantine. In 2021, the maximum benefit was $595 per week. EI is a second payer to most other disability benefits, with a dollar-for-dollar offset. Canada Pension Plan, CPP, and Quebec Pension Plan, QPP. These plans provide disability benefits to members under age 65 who have a severe and prolonged disability. A severe disability prevents the member from working in any capacity, and a prolonged one is long-term, likely permanent, or likely to result in death. Benefits are payable starting the 4th month after the disability began until the member recovers, reaches age 65, or dies. Workers' compensation. These are mostly provincial plans that provide disability benefits to employees who suffer job-related injuries or illnesses. Contributions are paid 100% by the employer, and benefits average 80% to 90% of pre-disability net income. Finalizing the client profile and recommendations. Once all risks, resources, and current coverage are assessed, the agent can prioritize the client's needs and formulate recommendations. The process involves 1. Prioritizing needs based on personal factors. Identifying which risks the client is most prone to based on their age, medical history, occupation, and avocations. 2. Assessing financial ability to cope. Determining if the client's financial resources are sufficient to handle the consequences of risk without ANS insurance. 3. Comparing existing coverage to needs. If insurance is needed, the agent compares the client's current coverage to their identified risks. There are 4 possible scenarios when comparing existing coverage to needs. Complete and adequate coverage. No additional coverage is needed, and it is most prudent to leave the existing coverage in place. Unnecessary surplus of coverage. The client has more coverage than needed, which is an unproductive expense that should be avoided. Adequate coverage with overlap. The client has overlapping coverage from multiple sources that may exceed all source maximum provisions in contracts, potentially leading to benefits being scaled back. Gaps in coverage. This is the most likely situation where coverage is insufficient, waiting periods are too long, benefit periods are too short, or definitions are too restrictive. The agent's key role is to identify and prioritize these gaps and create a plan to address them. After these steps, the agent is ready to recommend the types and amounts of insurance the client should apply for.